they make the baskets, they end up losing the game by 1 point. So when he came to practice the next day, kicked him out of practice for 3 days. Then he told him to go down, took him in the locker room, and said, undisciplined people do dumb things. Disciplined people do smart things. Which are you? So this is really, everything that we talk about is going to come down to how do you have the discipline to execute and do the things that you need to do your part. And one thing that everybody has to overcome to be able to do this is, am I going to do what I feel like doing, or am I going to choose to do the things I need to do to accomplish the goal and the vision that I have? This is a huge hurdle for everybody. Because how many times have you heard somebody say, I don't feel like doing that? It doesn't matter what you feel like. You got to make choices and decisions based on what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. You got to be committed to it, and it's got to be important to you if you're able to do that. The other thing that people get affected by so much is, are you able to focus on the vision that you have, or are you going to get affected by the circumstance that you're in all the time? And I think one of the best examples of this is, Chuck Pagano gave a speech to his team 2 or 3 years ago. He's the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Was diagnosed with cancer. May have been terminal, but he was unable to coach his team from the time camp started until they got into the playoffs about, 12 weeks into the season. They got into the playoffs. So he came and spoke to the team in the locker room. You may have heard the speech, saw it on CBS. But he talked to them about how proud he was. Right? But he talked about the vision that he had for himself, which was to see his daughters grow up so he could dance at their wedding. And the circumstance that he was in, which is he had cancer. So that's a great example of, am I going to be affected by the circumstances that I'm in or the vision that I have? Because, when you're a part of a team, which I'm sure all of you are trying to build a team out there, you have the right to fail. Each and every one of you have the right to fail. And I tell our players this all the time. You have the right to make the choices and decisions to fail. But you really don't have the right to make those choices and decisions that affect everybody else and cause them to fail. So you have to be responsible for your own self-determination and doing the right things. Now, but the individual makes the team what it is. It doesn't go the other way. It's not about, some people think that Alabama has a successful team, so if I join that team, I'm going to be successful. It's not how it goes. There's no I in team. I know you've heard that many times before, but there is an I in win. And that stands for the individual who has the right intensity, immediacy, sense of urgency, and intelligence to carry out and do the role that he needs to do. So once you make this commitment, once you have this goal, all right, what sacrifices are you willing to make? Because you're certainly going to have to make some if you want to accomplish something of significance. What skills are you going to have to acquire? Who are you going to have to work with to be able to acquire those skills? What obstacles are you going to have to overcome? And probably the biggest obstacle we all have to overcome is self-pity. Every time things don't go the way we think they ought to, all right, we get what I call the poor me's. Poor me, I'm tired. Poor me, I'm sore. Poor me, I don't feel like doing this today. Poor me, I got sick when everybody else had a chance and I would have been able to succeed. There can be no poor me's. You have to be positive about the way you go about the habits that you need to create to accomplish the goals that you have. And because of that commitment, will you make the choices to do the right things, to be your best, and to care about other people? Those are the things that I think are going to be very, very important. So if you're going to be a team and you're going to create a team, everybody's got to understand togetherness is really, really important. Together, everybody's going to be able to accomplish more. But what are the key factors in people working together? The first one is respect. The second one is trust. You have to respect and trust the principles and values of the organization. You have to respect and trust the standard, right, that people set in the organization for everyone to work toward. And you have to respect and trust each other, which almost every issue we have on our team is because people don't respect the other guy. Something always happens. So being a part of a team is the best feeling that I think you can ever have. You know, they did this thing on TV the other day before the Super Bowl about all these great players who played who are all having significant issues, and I think it was about the Chicago Bears 1985 team, and some of them are having significant issues now with dementia and things like that. But not one guy, for all of his suffering, for all the pain that they're in, for all the operations that they had, not one guy said that they would give up the feeling that they had, the camaraderie, the togetherness that they had being a part of a team. It's the thing I fear the most about retiring someday. I've been a part of a team since I was 9 years old. I started playing Little League Baseball. Now I'm 64 years old and I'm still part of a team.